From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On Trust News Hour tonight, Social Democratic Party SDP vows to challenge APC victory in Ekiti gubernatorial election. Senate to screen ministerial nominees next week, Wednesday. 5 persons regain freedom from abductors in Katsina. On the foreign scene, death toll from Afghanistan earthquake hits over 1,000 and 1,500 others injured. Hello and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I am Ayinde Shuaga. The national leadership of the Social Democratic Party, SDP, says the unprecedented amount of vote buying that characterized the just concluded Ekiti governorship election is capable of crashing Nigeria's democracy if allowed to persist unchecked. National chairman of the party, Shehu Gabam, and the SDP governorship candidate in the election, Segun Oni, made the observations while addressing a news conference on the outcome of the poll in Abuja, just as they accused security agencies of compromising the exercise. They vowed to challenge APC's victory at the election tribunal. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports.
As pressing their deep concerns and disappointment over the outcome of the Ekiti poll, Gabam and Oni warn that allowing the monumental level at which voter inducement is growing is inimical to the nation's democracy and the desire for credible leadership.
The next election that is coming, majority of the people would not bother to campaign, to do anything. They will concentrate on looting public treasury, that is for public officials, or those who have other criminal ways of getting money and stock their money and just wait for election day. They will not bother about the process. They will just buy voters.
According to them, the outcome of the Ekiti governorship election is devoid of legitimacy as it recorded the lowest voter turnout in recent history, alluding to growing voter apathy propelled by the governance deficit in the state.
We are in trouble in this country. We are in trouble. This goes further than just selling of votes. Somebody is out to promote the religion of vote buying, and there must be a reason for it. Either vote buying as a decoy, or vote buying as a legal tender. Whichever way it is dangerous.
While calling on the relevant stakeholders in the nation's democratic process to rise up against vote buying, the SDP is also worried over what it called deliberate use of security agencies to perpetrate the electoral offense. The SDP governorship candidate in the Ekiti election, Segun Oni, came second in the Saturday poll. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
In the meantime, the governor-elect of Ekiti State and candidate of the All Progressives Congress in the June 18 governorship election, Biodun Oyebanji, and his deputy, Monisade Afuye, have received their certificates of return. Speaking in Ado-Ekiti after receiving his certificate, Oyebanji promised not to betray the confidence of Ekiti people who chose him, among others. He said the introduction of the bimodal voter authentication system, BVAS, is a game changer in the country's electioneering process, adding that the poll was credible as it reflected the wishes of the people. The Senate will next Wednesday screen the 7 ministerial nominees forwarded to the chamber by President Muhammadu Buhari for confirmation. Senate President Ahmed Lawan stated this in an announcement on Wednesday, moments before the Senate adjourned plenary. The report.
President Buhari had, in a letter dated 15 June 2022, requested the Senate to confirm the nomination of 7 ministerial nominees The nominees are to be screened individually by the upper chamber during plenary.
The screening of ministerial nominees on Wednesday next week.
Meanwhile, the Senate now has 5 minority parties. This comes as 2 senators from Bauchi and Imo states resigned their membership of the All Progressives Congress (APC) and the People's Democratic Party (PDP), respectively. The lawmakers are Senator Dauda Chika, representing Bauchi Central, and Senator Ezenwa Francis Onyewuchi, representing Imo East Senatorial District. Both senators, in separate letters to the Senate President, indicated that to join the Labour Party and the New Nigerian People's Party, respectively.
Your Excellency, Mr. President, letter of defection. Letter of defection. I wish to inform Mr. President and distinguished senators of my defection from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to the Labour Party, LP. This is after due consultation with my family, constituents, and supporters. This will enable me to participate fully in the movement for a new Nigeria. Accept the assurance of my highest esteem, signed Senator Ezenwa Onyewuchi. I hereby wish to notify you of my defection from the All Progressives Congress (APC) to the New Nigeria People's Party, whose ideals is in line with my political aspirations. Please accept the assurances of my esteemed personal regards. Signed, Senator Haliru Dauda Jika, FNSE, Doka Jimbauchi.
The defections bring the number of APC senators to 66, with members of the minority parties standing at 43.
The House of Representatives on Wednesday debunked stories that the electoral umpire has accepted to extend the continuous voter registration exercise by 60 days. This is coming hours after the House Minority Leader drew the attention of the House to the fact that INEC is yet to respond to the House's demand for additional days. Chairman of the House Committee briefed the lawmakers on the latest development on the floor of the House. Briefing journalists after plenary, Representative Aishatu Duku said she was misrepresented, noting that the electoral umpire is yet to reach a resolution on the matter.
It will not be possible, this is his statement, for INEC to extend as to the days we requested. However, they will go back and look at their timelines and then look at how possible, how best they can, be able to make it to increase, the days for registration.
There was never a time the chairman of the committee announced to the House that INEC has extended, the registration to 60 days from 30th of June. That was a misrepresentation which we don't know where it's coming from, and we want you to retract. For those of you who has published that, it never happened. But as the mover of the motion, what I put across for the House to consider was for it to be extended for 60 days, having in mind of the 90 days of the publishing of this particular register, 90 days of publishing of other issues that they have to do, because many people think it's only registration that INEC handles. There are other responsibilities that the Electoral Act has given to INEC.
Spokesman of the House of Representatives. Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule has disclosed plans by his administration to constitute a committee that will reconcile all aggrieved members of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in the state. The governor disclosed this Tuesday when he presided over the monthly State Executive Council meeting at the Government House, Lafia. He said the committee will put up proper procedures to address any grievances. The state's chapter of the party, according to reports, is enmeshed in a crisis following the outcome of the recently conducted primaries in the state. Nigerian political leaders have been advised to research and consult widely before concluding on the issue of a Muslim or Christian ticket for the 2023 presidential election. Speaking with journalists in Ilorin after meeting with Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak, the General Superintendent of Deeper Life Bible Church, Pastor William Kumuyi, urged the presidential flag bearers to look at the heartbeat of the country and desires of the people before making their decisions. On the issue of insecurity in the country, he said though the security agencies are doing their best, a lot more needed to be done to address the country's security challenges.
Area and it's a little bit slippery. What I would say is the political officers should look at the heartbeat of the country and they look at the desires of the people, and they're not there for themselves, they're there for us, and let them ask and make their research. What does the country want? What do the people want? And if they listen to the people at this time, we'll be confident that they'll listen to us when they get there. It's difficult to preempt issues, but you know, by the grace of God, I believe that the security agents are doing their level best. We can all improve. In every area of life, there's always room for improvement. So I would say in the security, there is a room for improvement, but I want to, credit our officers and those who are putting their lives on the line to secure the whole country. I think we should be praying for them, that God will give them more wisdom and more visible victory in the security of the country.
The House of Representatives has resolved to compel the federal government to approve firearms for local vigilante to aid the fight against insurgency, banditry, and kidnapping in the country. The resolution, amongst others, followed a motion of urgent national importance on the sorry state of insecurity in the country, especially the recent abduction of a traditional ruler in Plateau State. The Green Chamber also urged the federal government to direct the Inspector General of Police, Chief of Defense Staff, and other relevant security agencies to immediately secure the safe release of the district head of Panyan and others in captivity across the country.
Insecurity has become an almost everyday occurrence in the country, as no other day hardly passes without news of kidnapping or another security challenge. The recent adoption of a traditional ruler by armed bandits in Plateau State seems to have triggered wide condemnation by federal lawmakers in the Green Chamber. Representative Solomon Marin, who brought the motion on the kidnapping of the traditional ruler from Plateau, Aminu Dawan, by heavily armed bandits, said the assailants shot indiscriminately in the early hours of Monday before whisking away the traditional ruler. He called on the House to summon the Inspector General of Police, the Army, as well as other security agencies to find out why this trend has continued unabated.
Concerned that hitherto little or nothing has been heard of any serious or deliberate action taken to cap or forestall or even arrest and prosecute these hoodlums. Worried that unless something is done deliberately, in fact, urgently, to reduce, stop, or curtail these ugly occurrences, which has become a recurrent decimal, our communities may soon be thrown in total terror, fear, and lawlessness.
Federal lawmakers, while condemning the attacks as well as the state of insecurity in the country, also made some amendments to the motion.
There is nothing that will happen. I have it here in my handset. At times they give the direction and even where they are meeting. But it's the implementing agency. Even if you are going to recruit the entire villages now and give them these light arms, somebody carrying an arm, a gun that can discharge 100 bullets in one round, how will you face him? AK-47, how will you face him?
The Borno model that I want to recommend for the state governments in the various affected states to equally fund and support is the formation of a very robust vigilante groups that are going to be armed, not necessarily with sophisticated weapons like AK-47, with pump action guns, having gotten clearance from the National Security Advisor.
The motion was adopted when it was put to vote by the Speaker, Femi Bajabemila, at plenary.
After bandits' attack that led to the abduction of 7 people in Katsina last Sunday, some of the victims are beginning to regain their freedom. 5 out of the 7 abducted victims were released after heavy ransom was paid. Jamil Mabai tells us more.
The attack, which is the first of its kind within Katsina Metropoli, is causing apprehension among populace, making some residents to relocate to safer areas. When Turaki relocated to this neighborhood in Katsina 7 years ago with his family, he never foresaw the dark reality of bandits attacking his area and even being a victim. Today, that peace and tranquility is gone. All is left is fear and anxiety. The trauma of being taken by bandits is something unexplainable. He said his wife and 5 others are being hunted by the experience they lived, where they were taken for ransom for 3 long and frightening days. In between the corridor of my living room and my wife's living room, holding a gun to my face, they asked for money. I took them to my bedroom and gave them 700,000 naira. They told me they were living with me. They never wanted to take my wife. She followed us while asking her to go back. One of them slapped her and took her with us. According to Madner Umar Gafai, the bandits stormed the area, heavily armed with sophisticated guns, forced their way into his house and abducted him. Despite escaping, he said he is still in shock. I had given up when they took me. Probably if I'm lucky, my dead body will be found, or that is it. We are still living in shock. No matter how little a sound is, we get scared. Kidnapping for ransom has been a major trend used by armed terrorists in northwest Nigeria. A trend that has displaced thousands from their homes and robbed many financially and emotionally. Ongwar Shola, as popularly known, where the abduction took place, is in close proximity to the Federal Medical Center, Katsina, and not up to a kilometer drive to Katsina Municipal. Experts believed this is a clear indication that bandits are expanding their territorial attacking targets, a situation that is frightening. Jamilu Mabai, Trust TV News, Katsina.
Muslims and Christians from the 23 local government areas of Kaduna State have observed a one-day prayer and fasting to end the economic and security challenges bedeviling the state. Clerics from both faiths who spoke during the prayer session said the worsening state of insecurity in Kaduna necessitated the desire to seek God's help. The report.
Kaduna State is one of the states in the northwest facing banditry, terrorism and other crimes, despite effort by security agencies to address them. The worsening security situation is daily reducing options available to those charged with the responsibility of protecting lives and property. This one-day prayer session by Christians and Muslims is observed across the state for God to intervene.
There shall be no bloodshed. There shall be unity. There shall be peace. In Jesus' name we are praying.
We
don't have anything, it's this God we're calling, and it's this God we're looking up to. And that's why both Muslims and Christians are praying today to salvage Kaduna State.
There are a lot of things happening in Kaduna that we are not aware of. So we can only settle this matter in the place of prayer. We are praying for mercy for Kaduna State.
An All Progressive Congress APC governorship aspirant in the last primary election, Sani Shaban, has given up on government and her ability to bring peace and is now relying on God.
We fasted today. We believe we don't have any strength but that only the strength of God Almighty. We believe we don't have any wisdom except that wisdom of God Almighty. We believe whoever is trying to wrangle, kill Kaduna State, allow Kaduna State to fly in a plane without a pilot, for Kaduna State to crash, God Almighty will not allow that to happen.
Practitioners of the two major religions in Nigeria are positive that a spiritual angle may hold the magic wand to solving the state security challenges.
Anambra State Police have arraigned 10 men before the Federal High Court sitting in Awka for murder and other charges. According to the police, one of the suspects had on January 19, 2019, shot 2 men and killed 2 men at a burial in Umuzocha Town Hall in Awka South, as well as kidnapped 2 others and vandalized 2 properties valued at over 1.2 billion naira. The men are facing 11 charges ranging from conspiracy, murder, armed robbery, act of terrorism, and kidnapping. Others are cultism and unlawful possession of firearms, burglary, and conduct likely to cause a breach of public peace in Isu, Aniocha, Awka North.
The defendant was we are just arraigned today for conspiracy/murder and terrorism.
At the State High Court, when I was called upon, that they have surreptitiously taken them before this Federal High Court without even informing us. Then we rushed to see what actually was happening. And lo and behold, they've been arraigned. But we'll get back to our drawing board and know what to do. Because as far as we are concerned, we know the truth.
My prayer to the court is, let justice be done. That's what I need. And let there be peace in Isu and Ocha, because today there is no peace in Isu and Ocha. Me as a wife, I cannot go to Isu and Ocha now to sleep even a day. I cannot do that.
You're watching NewsHour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break, ambition of Gombe blind footballer. Stay with us.
The rains are here again. Floods are ravaging. Why? As residents of FCT, we have made some wrong choices. Dumping refuse in water channels, building on waterways, damaging water lines. The consequences of flooding can be devastating. Lives are lost. Properties are damaged. People are displaced. Farmlands are destroyed. Don't make the wrong choices. Don't build on floodplains. Don't dump refuse in waterways. Don't damage water lines. Clear all refuse in waterways around your premises. Together, we can safeguard lives and property. Do the right thing now. For emergencies, please call 112 or 122. This message is from the FCT Emergency Management Agency, FEMA.
Every patriotic Nigerian should hear this. Any politician who means well for the people will never allow themselves or their supporters to engage in any violent, destructive activities. No politician who truly wants to serve the people and develop the nation will encourage his followers to destroy properties or take human lives before, during, or after the elections. The Nigerian public must watch out for these traits and isolate any politician who encourages supporters to engage in violence. No genuine politician or patriot will cause trouble and seek to destroy the very society which they aspire to lead or develop. Politicians who have the good of the people at heart will not allow themselves or their followers to engage in violence, destruction of properties, and then taking of lives. Be vigilant. By their words you shall know them. Shun violence. Stay away from politicians who want you to do so. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NOAA.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is News Hour on Trust TV. A look at our top stories. Social Democratic Party SDP has vowed to challenge APC victory in Ekiti gubernatorial election. And Senate is to screen ministerial nominees next Wednesday. Moving to more stories, the federal government is taking its neck out that academic activities will soon resume in earnest because of its commitment to resolve contending issues with the university-based unions soon. Minister of Labor and Employment, Senator Chris Ngige, gave assurances on Wednesday while fielding questions from newsmen at State House Abuja at the end of the Federal Executive Council meeting. Kehinde Amodu tells us more.
ASUU started its strike on February 14 over a dispute on the use of the University Transparency Accounting Solution for the payment of university lecturers instead of the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System, IPPIS, which is used by the federal government. The other three university-based unions, the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, the Non-Academic Staff Union of Education and Associated Institutions, NASU, and the National Association of Academic Technologists, NAAT, had joined the industrial action over the inability of government to address their own concerns. The dispute has dragged on so long that speculations are rife that government is no longer engaging ASUU. But the minister says this is not true, as government has narrowed down two issues in contention.
Renegotiation of their package, welfare package, as in the 2009 agreement. That agreement says you can review every 5 years. So that issue stuck out like a sore thumb. Then another issue arose that is not in that agreement on the payment platform of University Transparency Accounting Solution, which they say they have invented. They say they don't want to be on IPs, that IPs was amputating their salaries.
But Ngige stressed he was expecting reports from the Ministry of Education, the National Information Development Agency, NITDA, and even the lecturers over the issues.
I have not gotten back any of the reports from education, from salaries, incomes, and wages, nor from ASUU, because they're also supposed to report to me if there is anything untoward going on. I have not gotten any report. So, but on the government side, we are calling up a meeting tomorrow so that everybody in government side can report.
Government, however, has to be careful not to seem as if it is giving ASUU preferential treatment over the other university unions.
There's rivalry. If you pretend there's no rivalry, it's a lie. Everybody knows there's a rivalry. So by next period, we're going to again bring them together, and what government offers to them will be given to them, will be shown to them, for them to go back to the individual unions. And with that, we'll solve it.
This is probably the clearest indication given by government that it now has a strategy to end the strike as soon as possible. From State House, Abuja, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
The Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, says there's an urgent need for fundamental reforms of the administration and governance of the Nigerian judiciary. In a press statement issued by the president, Olumide Akpata, the NBA described as disheartening and unfortunate the conditions highlighted in the letter written by 14 justices of the Supreme Court of Nigeria to the Chief Justice of Nigeria, alleging various improprieties and administrative inefficiencies, and the subsequent response of the CJN. the NBA noted that the situation has not only affected the judicial responsibilities of the justices, but also impacted on the justice administration process. While advocating for the independence and financial autonomy of the judiciary, the NBA also noted that it is important that the judiciary must not only be, but should be seen as being above board and transparent in the management and allocation of the resources currently available to it. In the meantime, the Senate has waded into the disagreement between the Chief Justice of Nigeria, CJN, Justice Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad, and justices of the Supreme Court. 14 aggrieved justices of the Apex Court had, in a widely circulated letter to the CJN, accused him of neglecting their welfare, not carrying them along in managing the affairs of the court, the deteriorating condition of the services, and the state of litigation department. But Justice Muhammad denied the allegations and condemned taking the issues to the public. Speaking at plenary on Wednesday, Senate President Ahmad Lawan said the legislature must be interested in what is happening in the judiciary with a view to finding solutions issues raised. He therefore mandated the Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters, led by Senator Okpeyemi Bamidele, APC Ekiti, to wade into the issue. The Kebbi State Chief Judge, Suleiman Muhammad Ambosa, has ordered the release of over 200 inmates in correctional facilities across the state as part of efforts to decongest the facilities. Hamza Galadima reports that the order, which came after a visit by the Chief Judge to prisons, followed the receipt of a letter from the Correctional Service lamenting the congestion in the facilities. The report.
The prison visit was initiated by the Kebbi State Judiciary in response to a letter by the Correctional Service in Kebbi to the Chief Judge lamenting on the congestion in the prisons across Kebbi State. During the visit, the Kebbi State Chief Judge, Suleiman Muhammad Ambosa, ordered the release of over 200 inmates, some of whom have been in prison for over 5 years without trial. The Chief Registrar of the Kebbi State High Court, Hussein Abdullah Zuru, while speaking to journalists on the visit, said 117 inmates were released unconditionally, while another 26 inmates were released on bail, and also directed that another 29 inmates should be taken to court immediately for their trials to commence.
A letter through the monitoring committee that their correctional centers were full of capacity. They have their capacity. So the inmates are beyond the capacity of the centers. So based on it, we invited all the members. Then we went there. The chief registrar is the secretary of the monitoring committee. So far, so good.
Earlier during the visit, the Kebbi State Chief Judge, Suleiman Muhammad Ambosa, advised the benefiting inmates to turn a new leaf and steal no more, so as to reciprocate the good gesture extended to them. He said his visit to the two main facilities in Birnin Kebbi was aimed at decongesting the prisons as part of efforts to give every inmate fair hearing. Hamza Galadimozu reporting for Trust TV News from Birnin Kebbi.
Bauchi State Government has uncovered 1,418 ghost workers on its nominal roll in the state civil service. This was disclosed by the Secretary to the State Government, SSG, Ibrahim Kashim, during a press briefing organized by Labour Union in Bauchi. Adamu Imam reports.
The SSG disclosed that the administration was able to reduce its expenditure cost on both local and state government level from 3.5 billion naira to 2.8 billion naira and from 3.2 billion to 2.9 billion naira respectively. Kashim explained that the government have now established a desk complaint unit at every MDS for receiving complaints from genuine staff pertaining to salaries.
The 20 local governments was cleaned up. The syndrome of ghost workers in the local governments and replacing names of people after people had died or had retired was eliminated. And the local governments were trained and were empowered to be paying their salaries. As of today, we are proud to say that the 20 local governments are paying their salaries, the chairmen are paying their salaries themselves. And the local governments have no one case that we know of anybody who is not being paid.
Therefore, he called on the public to disregard false and fake news from unpatriotic citizens who want to politicize the salary issues. In his response to some questions from journalists, the chairman, Nigerian Labour Congress State Chapter, Comrade Danjuma Saleh, commended the state government for the giant effort in solving the lingering salary issues.
Getting their salaries. These are the people that we are pursuing. We don't support somebody who will concoct the number of months and say that he has not been getting. Possibly he's not even a genuine worker. He will go to the media or somewhere and start blustering or talking about this and that. So now the government has put in place machineries for collecting a genuine list of such genuine individuals, starting from each and every ministry. The government has directed that as from now to the end of the month, the permanent secretary, director of finance, SO, and the rest of them are subject to responsibility of compiling the list of the genuine workers who have not been getting their salaries.
He said that the union will continue to support the interests of their members as well as commitment to plight of the genuine workers. It could be recalled that the state workers accused the government for not giving them the salary, leave grant, gratuity, and promotions as at when due since the inception of the present administration. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Financial viability and sustainability are among the many challenges media organizations around the world grapple with daily. These challenges are worsened by the loss of revenue generation through the rise of technology platforms such as Facebook, Google, Twitter, and several others. It is in view of these challenges that the International Center for Investigative Reporting, ICIR, as part of its 10th year anniversary celebration, gathered stakeholders to brainstorm on parameters to address them. Trust TV's Aisha Salihu reports.
The proliferation of the digital media believed to have laid a siege on the survival of traditional media has forced operators to devise means of diversifying content in order to ensure sustainability.
There are two things in my mind, or in my humble opinion, that will help us deliver a competent news product. The first and the most important one is editorial independence. And the second one is commitment to investing in compelling, exclusive, and relevant news content. As a media owner, you must be a crusader for media freedom. It's important if we want our businesses to be sustainable. The sustainability of the media is strongly linked to its capacity to operate effectively under sound political, legal, and economic conditions.
For the media to maintain relevance, panelists at this Media Sustainability Conference make a case for dynamism as well as objectivity on the part of practitioners.
The media is supposed to be dynamic, so is content. As tastes of people are changing, newer challenges are emerging. In the past, we didn't have issues of insurgency in Nigeria. We didn't have the pandemic. The kind of inflation we're experiencing are not there, which means the media must be sensitive to the multicultural setting of the country and the diverse nature of Nigeria. And when we talk of the media, we're talking of the staff themselves. How equipped are they? How trained are they to respond to this needs?
If you want
have a sustainable business, it means you yourself, not just be reporting about politicians who are corrupt, who are not transparent. Is your business also transparent?
Stakeholders say media owners should abide by the ethics of professionalism, accountability, and unbiased gatekeeping to enable the media maintain its agenda-setting role.
It is almost delusional on our part to expect that we can run a successful media business in a country when the economy of that country is tanking. And I think you are absolutely correct. Which is why, for me, journalism remains paramount. Because as the world becomes more chaotic, there is a need for that primary job that journalists are supposed to do, which is hold those responsible for policy, for everything, whether they're in business, whether they're in public office, accountable.
Discussions at the session focused on the contributions of the media in organizational leadership, collaboration and strategic partnerships for addressing the sustainability challenge of the media in Africa to ensure compliance with global best practices. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The Adamawa State Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has arrested 296 drug offenders and seized 3,107.779 kilograms of different illegal drugs. The state commandant of the NDLEA, Femi Agbualu, made the disclosure at a press briefing in Yola to mark the United Nations International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Drug Trafficking. Salis Lawan reports that the arrests and seizures were made between June 2021 and May 2022. The report.
The briefing is in commemoration of the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Drug Trafficking, which is celebrated annually, with the team addressing drug challenges in health and humanitarian crisis. The Adamawa State Commander, Femi Agbualu, said it is a clear call to address transnational drugs challenges arising from crisis. It is also aimed at protecting the right to health for the most vulnerable, including children and youth, people using drugs, those with disorders, and those who need access to controlled medicines.
We recorded a total seizure of 2,702.167 kilograms in the period under review. Tramadol, which is a controlled drug that has found way to, on the streets of our country. We have Tramadol 146.806 kilograms. Codeine-based syrup, we have a total drug seizure of 61.440 kilograms. Cocaine, which is a type of drug. Cocaine, we have a total seizure of 0.013 kilograms.
The commander said the command had counseled and rehabilitated 45 drug dependents in the period under review, while 104 drug offenders were prosecuted in the court of law. He said there are 71 pending cases, while 51 have been convicted.
We also have phenobarbital with a total seizure of 2.29 kilograms. And in the course of our job, in the course of enforcement, we came across ammunition, 28 rounds of live ammunition, and one locally made pistol with a military camouflage.
He also commanded the resilience of officers and men of NDLEA while reiterating commitment toward ridding the state of illicit drugs, drug abuse and trafficking. The State Command has organized a week-long activity to mark the 2022 World Drug Day. From Yola, Salis Lawan, Trust TV News.
Blindness is the state or condition of being unable to see because of injury, disease, or a congenital condition. Despite having this condition, a student at the Special Education Center, Gombe, Adamu Manu, is actively engaged in football to keep fit and socialize with other students. Ibrahim Ismail reports.
These are a group of blind students at the Special Education Center Gombe participating in a football competition. While some have partial vision, others don't. These challenges notwithstanding, they engage themselves in this intra-school football match to have fun. Adamu Manu wants to pursue a career in football and sociology despite being visually impaired. I am visually impaired. I can't see. I learned the game since I was a child. You learn things in your childhood. We contribute money to buy football. This ball costs 300 naira. When it gets spoiled, we buy another one. We also organize league. I also organize one when I return from holiday. We play up to 5 matches. This football is not for visually impaired. The special one for us costs 9,000 naira and we can't afford it. He tells Trust TV the techniques he uses to notice the ball. We used to insert objects into the ball, like stone, a metal or key that makes sound. Because I can't see, I listen to the sound, follow the direction and kick the ball. Some play in the night. I use sound to detect the ball. Assuming there were a Premier League for the blind, I would have been better than Nigeria's version of Messi. The students call on government and philanthropists to assist them with a special football meant for the visually impaired to enhance their game. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
Nigeria imports at least 60% of dairy products the country consumes. To boost milk production in the nation, the Central Bank of Nigeria placed milk on its importation ban list. In this report, Chawon Dabenger examines whether or not the move has achieved any desired result. Let's take a look.
Though Nigeria can boast of its large numbers of cattle, the country still finds itself importing most of its dairy products from European countries. Despite the move to ensure self-sufficiency in the production of milk and placing restrictions on access to foreign exchange for milk importation, over 27 billion naira was used this year to import dairy products into the country. What are some challenges facing dairy production and what can be done to boost dairy production in the country?
So the challenges are primarily numerous, but let's try to segregate them. Primarily on the technology itself, how is it packaged, that's one. How adaptable is it? Because you can't bring in something from somewhere and then expect farmers to produce it. So that's very important. Then on the level of the farmers, their own level of education is key because sometimes people are rigid and they are tied to their own cultures. So that's another factor. And then how do they have the resources? Resources in terms of finance, and the resources of land, in the context of land, to do those things.
The number one thing that we need to consider here is pasture availability. Livestock is about feed. Feed is about livestock. If you don't have enough fodder, don't think of keeping animals. Unfortunately, what we do in this country is we still rely on natural grazing areas, which are diminishing by the day.
Earlier, we need to harness our resources. We may have them. If we don't recognize them, if we don't develop them, we cannot get results from them. We actually have them.
Because of improper storage and a lack of knowledge of preservation methods, a large quantity of milk has been lost, further reducing Nigeria's insufficient supply.
Yeah, it's difficult because you have to know what is the constituent, what is responsible for that spoilage. Because as much as you want to be environmentally friendly, you also have to take care of the people themselves. For me, I don't agree that, okay, if spoiled milk has salmonella, you can reuse it. No, I don't agree to that. But if there are things that could be decontaminated, yes, you can use. But there are key spoilers of milk that you can't reuse that milk.
As Nigeria continues to make small strides to boost dairy production, stakeholders say there's still a need for a large-scale subsectoral growth from the grassroots to the glass. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
On business news, the Nigerian Postal Service, NIPOST, will collaborate with the Nigeria Railway Corporation, NRC, on the movement of cargo and other postal services to boost the nation's economy. Postmaster General of the Federation, Ismail Adebayo Adewusi, who stated this when he met with the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of the NRC, Fided Ohiria, in Abuja, said the collaboration is geared towards taking advantage of NRC's extensive rail network on the movement of cargo and mail items across Nigeria. According to him, in the past, NIPOST had a robust relationship with the Nigeria Railway Corporation that needs to be rekindled, adding that the collaboration between both agencies will shorten delivery time and enhance quality of service. Responding, Ohiria expressed willingness to partner NIPOST for advanced economic growth. We now join Chamun Dabeng for more business news.
The average retail price of automotive gas, oil, diesel, according to the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS), grew by 181% from 238 naira 82 kobo in May 2021 to 671 naira 8 kobo in May 2022. The average retail price climbed month over month from 654 naira 46 kobo in April 2022, which is an increase of 2.54% over the average retail price paid in May. The increase in diesel prices has been partially attributed to the nation's rising inflation rate, which was brought on by supply shortfalls worldwide as a result of the Russia-Ukraine war. Additionally, the average cost to refill a 5 kg cylinder of liquefied petroleum gas or cooking gas increased from 3,800 naira 47 kobo in April to 3,921 naira 35 kobo in May 2022, a 3.18% month-over-month rise. However, from 2,071 naira 69 kobo in May 2021, the average retail price for cooking gas climbed by 89.28% on an annual basis. Despite limitations and bottlenecks that have resulted in numerous grid failure occurrences, President Muhammadu Buhari has reassured foreign investors that his administration is taking steps to improve Nigeria's power supply. According to him, Nigeria is decentralizing its national system through the use of mini-grids powered by renewable energy, and once the constitutional amendment bill is passed into law, state governments will be empowered to produce and transmit their own electricity. The president further stated that the federal government has set aside $550 million to fund the installation of 20,000 standalone solar systems, SHS, and more than 250 solar hybrid mini-grids. In the upcoming 18 months, the National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, plans to train 1 million software engineers in various application development domains. With the goal of making Nigeria the hub of digital talent in Africa, the agency's Director General, Kashifu Inua, stated that it will be done in conjunction with other ecosystem stakeholders. Inua, who was represented by the acting director of the agency's Corporate Planning and Strategy Department, Aristotle Onumo, described digital transformation as a cultural change that requires organizations to continually challenge the status quo. That's all for business news. I am Chamun Dabeng.
On the foreign scene, the death toll from a magnitude 5.9 earthquake has exceeded 1,000, with over 1,500 others injured in the provinces of Pakika and Khost. Authorities say hundreds of homes have been destroyed in the underdeveloped region. Tremors could be felt in neighboring Pakistan and Iran, where there were no immediate reports of damage or casualties. The quake struck hardest in the rugged terrain of the east, where people already live hand-scrambled lives in a country in the grip of a humanitarian disaster made worse by the Taliban takeover in August. The death toll has climbed steadily all day as news of casualties filtered in from hard-to-reach areas in the mountains, and the country's supreme leader, Hibatullah Akhundzada, warned it could likely rise further. We'll now join Adeniyi Ajisafe for sports news.
The National Parasports Federation's elections has been scheduled to hold in Abuja on Friday, July 15, 2022. This follows the dissolution of the boards of 7 parasport federations after the expiration of their 4-year tenure. The dissolved federations are amputee football, para-athletics, para-powerlifting, para-soccer, sitting volleyball, para-swimming, and wheelchair basketball. The Ministry of Youth and Sport Development has subsequently released a timeline of activities for the conduct of the elections, which includes the constitution of the electoral and appeal committees, among others. Each board of the federation shall comprise of 6 zonal representatives from the 6 geopolitical zones in the country, 1 athlete representative of the sport, 1 representative of the National Association of Women in Sport, NAWIS, and 1 representative of National Association of Physical Health, Education, Recreation, Sport, and Dance. Others are 1 philanthropist, sponsors, 1 representative of coaches and officiating officials, and the Secretary General to be appointed by the ministry. The zonal election is expected to hold in the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria on July 5, 2022. And in football, 9-time African champions Nigeria will take on Japan in a prestige international friendly match at Nouvelle Stadium, Kobe, on Thursday, October 6, in FIFA Women International Window for 2022. Nadeshiko Japan, the women national team of Japan, is rated 13th in the world, while Super Falcons are 39th. Both teams have clashed only once at competitive level at the 2004 Olympic Women's Football Tournament. Nadeshiko defeated Falcons 1-0 at the Karaskassis Stadium in Pereira on 14th August 2004. 2 back-to-back friendlies in 2013 were won 2-0 each by Japan, who won the FIFA World Cup in Germany in 2011, beating Team USA in a pulsating penalty shootout after regulation time ended 2-2. Nadeshiko is the first team from Asia to win a senior FIFA World Cup trophy, while Super Falcons are perennial champions of the African continent and have participated at every FIFA Women's World Cup since inception in 1991, reaching the quarterfinals in 1999. That's Sport News. I am Adeniyi Ajisafe.
And with sports news, we have come to the end of News Hour on Trust TV. For more news, connect with us across all our social media platforms. I am Ayinde Shuaga, thanking you for watching.